so afraid to die.
Death is the thing that should be least feared. The reason why people fear death, primarily, there are secondary reasons as well, primarily is this, that they do not want to lose their individuality. They prefer the crumbs of bread of one's personal individuality instead of losing it in the vast king's feast. So the primary reason is not wanting to lose one's individuality. In other words, they think, they fear annihilation. Although in reality, they are not annihilated at all, because their spiritual self is forever eternal and immortal. Then again, people form attachments, and they do not want to lose. If they die, they lose all their things that they're attached to, the children, their wives, their furniture, their mansions, their cars. They've worked so hard to make fortunes, and they don't want to lose that. So they fear death, because by death they're going to lose all that. So those are some of the basic causes why people fear the death, and yet death is so, so beautiful. I've died a million times. You can ask any coward, he'll tell you that. Well, I've died a million times, 1,000 times, not cowardly, but intentionally, to see what the experience is. It's very easy. You just stop your breath, and there you go. Goodbye. But you must have the ability to bring your breath back, so you exist in the body. To do the work you have to do. Right, so death is not to be feared, it's to be welcomed, and it's a pleasant, pleasant experience. Yes, people think it's painful, it is not. Birth is more painful than death. We discussed it, the child does not get any trauma. That's what modern psychologists tell you, that the birth was traumatic, so therefore they suffer of this and they suffer of that. No, it's not so, because the baby has not developed that consciousness as yet to know of traumas. And birth is never traumatic. It's traumatic for the mother, perhaps, yes, but not for the child, because she goes through labor pains. But that trauma is soon overcome when she holds the baby in her hands and feels totally happy. And all those labor pains are forgotten. Because if they were not forgotten, they would not pine to have another baby soon. What do you say? Yes, they do that. Oh, yes. I know of women that have 3, 4 children, and they would like to have another child. And one or two of them have been bold enough to ask me, "Won't you help me?" We don't want too many gods around this world. No. You see. So it's not to be feared at all. In any case, to be afraid is just a mental concoction, because the real self within you knows of no fear. And yet all the religions and theologies tell you to be fearless. And they are the ones that implant more fear in you. And yet on the other hand, they tell you, be fearless, have courage. I think that's how all the churches and organized religions were established. When they couldn't win you with love, they instilled fear in your eternal damnation. So they kept you there. Business. Okay. There's nothing to fear at all. It's a lovely transition. And I think you should be happy because you'll be throwing away the old suit and getting a new suit, and that's your real birthday present when you get born again. The organs, as everything else, do decay, birth, decay and death is inevitably there. And that was the reason Buddha, for example, was kept in his royal palaces, and he had the best of the best, because when he was born, some astrologer said that this man will conquer the world or he'll become a spiritual giant. So the father did not, and mother, did not want him to become a spiritual giant, but he wanted, being a king, he wanted his son to become the emperor of the world. So he kept him in all the pleasures, sensual pleasures, etc. And but one day Buddha escaped out of the royal gardens and saw an old man age, saw a sick man, saw a corpse, and saw little children, birth, decay, sickness, death. And he wanted to find the answer. And that is why he renounced in the middle of the night while his wife was sleeping and his little baby Rahul sleeping. He just walked out. And his friends accompanied him to the edge of the city, and he discarded his royal robes and went off into the forests to meditate, to find the secret of birth, decay and death. And he found that there is no birth, there is no decay, there is no death. Everything gets worn. And so the body must also wear out. It's a natural phenomenon. It has to wear out. It gets old. And then you die and take on a new body, which is fresh. It gives another opportunity. Come back to school again and learn more. So death is something to be loved, something to be welcomed, never to be feared.